Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We just had Merle Rutledge on as guest. He was running for governor of Virginia. He has decided that he's going to be a write-in candidate. If you are interested in writing his name in or interested in his campaign, go to rutledgeforva.com. That's RUTLEDGEFORVA.com. And now, everyone, to our top story. We had a phenomenal actor, a very good actor, someone that I've never seen such love pour over for. Val Kilmer passed away on April 1st. It wasn't an April Fool's, everybody. He passed away at an early age of 65, just hit Medicare age. He died of pneumonia. Both of his children, his son and his daughter, were there by his side. And he had suffered with cancer for over 10 years. He's known for some of the best movies such as Top Gun, Tombstone, Batman Forever, The Ghost in the Darkness, and he was also the voice in the Disney movie The Prince of Egypt, playing Moses and Hashem. And we'll put up the slide right now. Val Kilmer, Top Gun and Batman Forever star, dead at 65. Val Kilmer most recently appeared in Top Gun Maverick in 2022 to reprise his role as Tom Iceman Kazansky. And just that outpour of love for Val Kilmer. He wasn't very politically involved, and I think that's probably why people just love him, especially Republicans I see on Facebook and Twitter. He didn't really support one candidate over the other. I know one thing in legislation he wanted to do, being in New Mexico, is he wanted to make religious exemption for people that didn't want to get Obamacare, or people that could only get Obamacare, but Obamacare didn't cover certain things. Because Val Kilmer was a Christian Scientist. Christian scientists, they don't really believe in medicine. They don't take antibiotics. They don't take steroids. And even when he got cancer, he did take chemo, but he did it against his will, because as a Christian Scientist, you don't really do methods like that. But it was a life or death situation. And as you know, he was heavily involved with Tom Cruise, and Tom Cruise is a huge Christian Scientologist. Tom Cruise got involved with Christian Scientology through John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, and the beat goes on and on and on and on. They kind of recruit one another a little bit. But Val Kilmer, like I said, he wasn't really politically against someone, for someone. I don't want to speak for him on this, but I think because as a Christian Scientist, because he didn't really believe in a lot of medicine, he probably didn't really support the vaccines. Did he get a vaccine or not? I don't know. I know a lot of side effects from people getting the vaccines. They can lead to pneumonia, such as my grandfather. As I said in my last couple episodes, my grandfather, I believe he did die of the vaccines. He had 2 shots of Pfizer, which gave him bilateral, untreated bilateral pneumonia, which killed my grandfather. My grandfather did not even get an antibiotic until 10 days into him having pneumonia. And my grandfather was 98 and a half years old. You don't wait 10 days to give a 98 and a half year old man an antibiotic. That's crazy. But what I'm seeing is all these beautiful, beautiful memories of Val Kilmer. And Val Kilmer was a very good looking man, very sexy man when he was young and acting. We actually have an image of him when he was at Top Gun. And we'll show you that. There you go. So that's him, Iceman, and that's Tom Cruise across the way. And the guy who played Gus, and I'm blanking on his name, but he's a very famous actor as well. And then, of course, this was a very underrated movie. I'll be honest, the reviews were not very good because everybody remembered the Batman series with Michael Keaton, and then Val Kilmer comes afterwards, and then it kind of flopped. And then we had George Clooney as Batman, and that movie was a disaster. And then we had Christian Bale, who reprised the role of Batman, and I felt that the Christian Bale versions of Batman were great. And then we have Ben Affleck as Batman, and he really screwed up the Batman franchise. So we have a beautiful picture of Val Kilmer as Batman with Nicole Kidman. And Nicole Kidman, that was her without the plastic surgery, or before she decided to ruin her face with all the plastic surgery she's gotten. She was gorgeous in that movie. And she and him had gorgeous, just beautiful chemistry between each other. But he had the look of Batman. He had the sexy big lips. He had the very svelte and ripped body. Now, the costume of Batman kind of makes the guy look a little bit more ripped than what they are, but there were scenes of him without a shirt on. and he was ripped. I mean, he worked out really hard for this film. And it's a shame that the film was underrated. It's a shame that the film, didn't get as many great reviews as possible. Jim Carrey was in that movie. He played a nutty role. I'm blanking on the other guy's name. Thomas. Oh my God, he's so famous. He's an Academy Award winning too. I'm blanking on his name. It's Thomas something. I'm blanking on his name. He played Two-Faced. And Chris O'Donnell. This was kind of the opening of Chris O'Donnell. Chris O'Donnell played Robin in this movie. It was the creation of Robin. And the director wanted Val Kilmer to play Batman again. And he didn't because of conflicts of interest with another movie that he was in called The Saint, which was a beautiful movie. That movie just, oh my God, took him over the top with Elizabeth Shue. The chemistry between him and Elizabeth Shue was fabulous. He played a spy in the movie. If you've never seen the movie The Saint, it's a beautiful movie, great movie. But as a result of Batman Forever, if you don't remember the movie, you'll remember the song Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And we'll play it for you.
Yeah, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave.
Such a beautiful song. And for those of you who didn't know the words, so it goes, baby, I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Oh, the more I get of you, stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the gray. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's such a very famous song. And the song Kiss from a Rose actually won a Grammy in the year 1996. The album Kiss from a Rose won the Grammy for Album of the Year in 1996. And what's interesting, and what I discovered, is that Seal actually didn't write that song for the movie. The song was already written, the music video was already put together. It was the director of Batman Forever that heard this song and said, oh my God, this song resonates with the Batman movie, Kiss from a Rose on the Gray. Saying that everything is dark, but then with Dr. Chase Meridian, the woman that was played by Nicole Kidman, she brings light to the darkness. So it's such a beautiful song, such a beautiful meaning. And the director said to Seal, can we please use your song as a part of the movie? And he said, and the director said, we're not taking credit and saying you wrote the song for the movie, but we would just like to take the music video that you have of the song and put some images of the movie Batman Forever in the music video. And Seal said, sure, of course. I mean, it's more money for Seal. He gets massive royalties. So every time that they play Kiss from a Rose, Seal is getting massive amounts of royalties from playing that song. And the Batman franchise does too. So it's a phenomenal, phenomenal song. And again, it stinks that the movie was kind of, underrated, that the movie didn't do as well. But when you hear the song Kiss from a Rose, you want to just watch the movie all over again. But what I really loved, again, is, Val Kilmer, he was a Christian Scientist, so he was a religious man, but he supported Israel and he supported the Jewish people. And there's an image of him that I found of him at the Western Wall that we're going to put up. It says Val Kilmer, there we go, Val Kilmer, star of Top Gun, Batman Forever. So that's him in Jerusalem at what they call the Kotel. That's the men's side. He's praying to God, Hashem. He believes in Jesus. He's probably praying to Jesus Christ at that point. And what's very traditional when you go to the Kotel is you write a message. You write a message to Hashem. And it's a prayer. It's your special prayer. It's your prayer that you write to God, and you put it in a piece of parchment, you roll it up, and then you stick that piece of parchment into one of the holes in the Western Wall. Now, if you look at the other side of it, you'll see the street sweepers, they actually sweep up your writings. But the whole point is that the minute that you're writing and you're sticking that message into God's wall, into Hashem's wall, that Hashem is listening, and Hashem will listen to your prayers, and hopefully he will answer your prayers. Now, when I was in Israel, at the Kotel, men are separated from the women. It's because Jerusalem is really run by the Orthodox community, which is a very religious Jewish community. So I'm on one side, the men are on the other. And as I'm praying to Hashem, there's a bird that comes by and actually craps on my shoulder. I've had a couple birds crap on my shoulder in Israel. They actually say that's a good thing. They say that your wish and your prayer will come true. So I don't know if that happened for Val Kilmer, but for Val Kilmer to go to Israel, to go to the Kotel, to put a prayer in the kotel, to pray at the kotel, to pray to God. It shows me that he loves Israel, that he loved the Jewish people, that he was a big supporter of Israel. And that's come out in some recent articles that I've seen. And also, again, he was the voice of the cartoon character of the Prince of Egypt. That was a Disney movie that talked about Moses, how Moses was to be, how he was born, how he was the son of not the son, the I won't call him the main prophet, but he was very close to God. God spoke to him, and God didn't speak to everybody, but he was extremely close to God. They even say that when Moses went up to Mount Sinai, that God actually scooped up his body. You actually can't find the grave of Moses. You can't find his body. They say that God actually elevated Moses, because Moses died at a very old age, and took him up to heaven with him. But of course, as you know, Moses brought down the 10 Commandments that God wrote to him. And as you know, the very famous 10 plagues going through the story between Pharaoh and Moses. These were real stories, by the way. This is not fake. This is all written in the Torah. It's all real. It's written in the Old Testament. These are real stories that Moses took that rod and he split the Red Sea to bring the Jewish people from slavery to freedom. And this is so important because the Jewish people are going into the holiday of Passover. It's coming up next week, April 12th to April 20th. It's an 8-day holiday. And then we have Easter. It's so cool that Passover and Easter are combined together this year. I love it. Just like Hanukkah and Christmas were literally on the same days combined. So it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing to know that Val Kilmer, he was the voice of God and the voice of Moses and the Prince of Egypt. We're about to celebrate Passover. I don't know about you, but I'm going to be watching the Prince of Egypt show with Val Kilmer. I definitely will be. And also just to know that he revived that role later and did an off-Broadway play of it. And he sang a lot of the songs himself from the Prince of Egypt. He trained to sing, he played guitar. And for those of you who don't know, he portrayed Jim Morrison in the movie called The Doors. Now, Jim Morrison was a very famous classical rock artist from the very famous rock group called The Doors. And I mean, they've written some of the most famous songs. They're part of the Rock Hall of Fame. And I grew up listening to The Doors. I actually grew up listening to classical rock with my father. And I mean, oh my God, Break On Through to the Other Side was such a great song. 21st Century Fox. And then the song This Is the End. And you have to listen to these songs that Jim Morrison wrote. I mean, he and his team, his group of buddies, they wrote these songs. It's not like music of today. They wrote the lyrics, they wrote the music, whether they were drunk, whether they were high, whether they were on drugs, whatever. What they did is they put their personal experiences, their personal life into their music, which makes a true artist, by the way. When you write your own songs, your own music, when you do it from beginning to end, I've written my own songs, you're putting your whole heart and your guts into it. And that's why I love being an opera singer, and I love being a singer in general. And I've written mostly pop songs, to be honest with you. And a lot of them are dating songs. A lot of them are, cutesy songs. A lot of them are just, songs of today. But what Jim Morrison and the Doors wrote was pure art. And my father actually had the pleasure of going to concerts and watching the Doors in real time in the 60s and 70s in Baltimore, Maryland. And the director said, I think it was Oliver Stone who directed the film. He said that Val Kilmer did such a great job portraying Jim Morrison that he sounded like Jim Morrison in some of the songs. They said that Val Kilmer literally went to Paris because Jim Morrison was buried in Paris, and he studied him. He studied the songs. He studied his life. He learned how to play guitar. He took voice lessons. I think he was a singer before. I know he was in bands even after he did the movie The Doors. And he got a lot of royalties and a lot of money from doing that movie, by the way. And the director said, and even the sound engineers, they said, oh my God, when he sings the song, This Is the End, he sounds just like Jim Morrison. And you have to listen to the music afterwards. It's a long song. This is the end, my friend, the end. It's such a, oh my God. When my dad did his radio show, he would always end his radio show with that song. And it's such a powerful song. And there's so much meaning towards that song. And you have to really, again, go into the story of the Doors and how that song came to be. Because there's a whole story behind it. And just again, to hear from the director that Val Kilmer sounded just like Jim Morrison. I mean, Jim Morrison's voice is very distinct. It reminds me of that actor Rafik, who won the Academy Award for portraying Freddie Mercury in Bohemian Rhapsody. I mean, the guy Rafik looked just like Freddie Mercury. He sang like him. He played the piano like him. He went to England and he studied him for months. I mean, that's how you become really that character. You go and study them for months or years. Angelina Jolie, she just did the movie Maria Callas, portraying the famous opera singer Maria Callas. They said that she learned to sing opera in 6 months, that she listened to Maria Callas and she listened to how her voice was and yada, yada. Now, I can tell you that Angelina Jolie lip sung 98% of that movie. She might have sang like 2% of it, because you can't really learn opera in 6 months. It's like I said in earlier shows, you have to be born with it. But like Val Kilmer, he already had musical training. He had the pipes. Rafik, he already had musical training. He had been playing piano for many, many, many years. So to see Val Kilmer transform himself into Jim Morrison, and he looked a lot like Jim Morrison too. And Meg Ryan actually played his lover in the movie too, and she did a great job as well. But I loved seeing that. And I loved when I saw him portray himself as Moses. And I loved how I saw him portray every single role that he played. He was great in Tombstone. He's got some great famous lines from Tombstone. The Ghost in the Darkness. People forget he played right next to Michael Douglas. No, people forget that. He was in some other really famous movies in between that time as well. And then, of course, the movie The Saint. I love that movie, The Saint. He did such a great job. He was a lead actor. That movie was phenomenal. I remember watching it with my parents in the movie theaters. We loved that movie. And every time I see it, I just fall in love with that movie all over again. It's a really great movie. It's a great love story, too. And again, the chemistry that he has with the women that he's with. And then, of course, Top Gun. I mean, you know, the famous line, you can be my wingman, or you'll be my wingman. And Tom Cruise says to him, BS, I'll be yours, or you'll be mine. I mean, it's just very famous lines in that movie. And it's very heartbreaking that he died at such a young age. I feel bad that he had suffered cancer and all these health problems. I mean, people have seen pictures of him in the last 5 years. I mean, he blew up like a balloon. He didn't look the best. People were putting him on National Enquirer, and they were like, what the hell happened to Val Kilmer? Like, he was the sexy man. I remember watching him in the movie Willow. That's where he met his ex-wife, Joanne Watley Kilmer. And that's the wife he had 2 children with. That was a very famous movie. And he was stunning in that movie. He had long dark hair and very masculine and just stunning man. And it's, it's sad. It's sad to see a lot of these actors kind of let themselves go. But it could have been the medication he was on. Again, he was on chemo, but he was a Christian Scientist, so he didn't really put a lot of medication into his body. But I'm very touched of the love that I see for this actor, for this man, as opposed to other actors out there that push their politics, that push their political spin, that support pro-Hamas crap, that go to pro-Hamas rallies like Susan Sarandon and Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz and Eva Longoria, who was at the DNC convention supporting Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. And it's just such a turnoff. It's such a turnoff to their craft. When you're an actor and you're doing something for the community, or you're putting your money into a foundation that's lucrative, that's what I admire. Or when you not bash President Trump, when you stay out of the political arena. President Trump is the president. What if he invited you to the White House? Would you bash him at the White House? Would you refuse as the president of the United States? Even Bill Maher, who continues to criticize and bash President Trump on his show, he went to the White House. Kid Rock put the meeting together. Kid Rock is a big Trump supporter. I love Kid Rock. I met Kid Rock backstage when I was a teenager with my whole family. Kid Rock is awesome. Great guy, great band, great human being. And he put the meeting together with Dana White, and President Trump was very skeptical of that meeting, but they met and they came up to, they had a consensus and a happy medium. Bill Maher, what he did is he put together a whole compilation of all the insults he ever said about President Trump. And what did President Trump do? He signed it. He signed it because it's funny. He signed off on it. He's like, yep, Yep. And used the black Sharpie and signed off on it. I mean, it's funny. Again, did President Trump really want to have that meeting? No. But he took the meeting because his friend Kid Rock put the meeting together. He didn't want to insult his friend. And sometimes it's good to hear what the others have to say. But again, these damn actors that are so anti-Trump, they don't even want to go and have a meeting with him, like what Bill Maher did. They're just doing themselves a disservice. George Clooney and Julia Roberts, I'll never go see any of their movies. I mean, George Clooney is married to the woman that wants to throw Bibi Netanyahu in jail. Amal Clooney is a disgusting attorney. She works with the ICC, which is irrelevant, by the way. They have no clout. They have no merit. But she wants to put Prime Minister Netanyahu in jail. Said that he committed crimes against humanity and committed genocide against Palestinian people, innocent Palestinian people, and all this crap. I mean, it's all propaganda BS. She would love to get him out of the prime ministership. She's disgusting. But her husband stands by it. Her husband supported Joe Biden. Her husband worked with Barack Hussein Obama to put together a fundraiser for Joe Biden. And then George Clooney said, Joe Biden can't support him anymore. He's got dementia. Not good. He ain't going to make it. And I don't know if Kamala Harris is going to make it, but Joe Biden ain't going to make it. I mean, he's standing there with Barack Hussein Obama, shaking his hand, kissing his butt. I mean, this is insane. I don't patronize people. I had Tom Hanks, the real a-hole, dissing President Trump. I can't remember the last time I saw a Tom Hanks film. I really can't remember. I mean, he's a disgusting piece of crap anyway. I mean, there's no love in his marriage between him and his wife. I mean, he's just nasty. Nasty human being. And a lot of these actors are afraid when the Epstein files come out that their names are going to be on the list because a lot of them are going to be exposed for going on Epstein's Island and the Lolita Express. Oops. I mean, Hollywood is just a shrine for pedophilia. We all know this with Harvey Weinstein and the casting couches. I'm in the entertainment industry. My father kept me away from all that crap. My father's a smart man and knew that if he left me alone with those directors and producers, God knows what they would have done to me behind closed doors. I feel bad for any actor or actress that had to deal with that crap. Any actor or actress that was told you need to bend down and do something for a job. I feel very bad for them. Very bad for them. And they're probably going to be in massive, they're probably going to have massive therapy for years. I'm sure they're traumatized for life. And me as a former, or not a former, I am a continued opera singer, but me as someone who was very, very involved in the entertainment industry, I do reach out to actors and actresses and models that have been just tortured and demonized and humiliated. And people are like, where's the Epstein files? Where are the Epstein files? They're coming. You just have to be patient. They're coming. I know Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, they're doing everything they can to protect the names of the children and the names of the adults too. It's a privacy thing. But they are coming. Alina Habba, who's now the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey, she has said they are coming. And Alina Habba is doing a damn good job. She's getting rid of a lot of illegals out of the state of New Jersey. She's getting rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse. And each U.S. attorney is calling for DOJ to go into their state and get rid of all the waste, fraud, and abuse. And that's what's important too. That's extremely important, is to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse out of the states. But again, Val Kilmer was a good actor, a hero, supported Israel, supported our biggest ally, supported Christians. Yes, he was a Christian Scientist, but he didn't push it onto anybody. He wasn't like a cult person. He wasn't trying to get people into the cult of Scientology like Tom Cruise does. He was a very religious man and a very observant man. And like I said, I feel really bad that he has gone from this earth too soon. We're seeing a lot of people dying at very young ages. A lot of them are dying from the vaccines. And Dr. Fauci will be held accountable for those deaths. He will be. A lot of people should not have died under the vaccines. I pray for Val Kilmer's family. I pray for his children. I pray for anyone that did work with him, that praised him. I pray that he's walking beside Hashem, or Jesus Christ as he observes in the kingdom of heaven. And I pray that his legacy lives on and that we continue to watch his movies. We continue to praise his name. We continue to listen to Kiss from a Rose by Seal and just continue his memory on. Because again, he was a really good actor, and he did some great films, and he was a very diverse actor as well. And hey, he played Batman. And he played anybody that plays Batman deserves a pat. Not George Clooney, not Ben Affleck, because those guys are morons. But Val Kilmer was a very good Batman, a very sexy Batman. I thought, in my opinion, he had the best lips out of all the Batmans and the best body too. And yeah, I was disappointed that he didn't come back to revive the role, but he moved on to bigger and better things. And we all know that he's now in a better place. So we say rest in peace. We say the Mourner's Kaddish for Val Kilmer. And again, we honor him. We will continue to memorialize him. And we thank him for his work as an actor. And we thank him for what he's done for the people of this nation. And we'll be right back after the break.
I compare you to a kiss from a rose on the grave. Ooh, the more I get of you, stranger it feels, yeah. And now that your rose is in bloom, a light hits the gloom on the grave.
This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello everyone, this is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
And hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine Live with the America's Pulse Network. Again, I am the White House correspondent for this network. It is an honor and a privilege to be in the White House briefing room with Caroline Leavitt on the White House lawn with President Trump and others. Speaking of President Trump, breaking. President Trump is reportedly considering, we'll put up that slide. President Trump is reportedly considering announcing the creation of the, quote, External Revenue Service, unquote, soon, aiming to reduce domestic taxation, according to sources. So as you know, we have something called the IRS, which a lot of people don't like. And as you know, we are going through taxes right now. My father's a financial advisor. He's dealing with tax season right now. But it's about gutting out the Internal Revenue Service. It's about gutting out the fact that the taxpayers, we pay so much in high taxes. It's a crime. It's ridiculous. And that's why President Trump has been putting tariffs on a lot of these countries, because we as Americans keep getting screwed. We're paying tons and tons and tons of tariffs to China, to Europe, but there's no reciprocation. We get screwed. They pay us nothing and we're paying them tons and tons and millions of dollars. So if you're going through your tax right now and you're like, God, I paid so much in taxes and you're not really getting a good refund back, well, President Trump is going to help you with that. Also, as you know, the Trump tax cuts, they're supposed to end in December 2025. Thank God that he won. Those tax cuts will be expanded. They were created and done by my friend, Trump senior advisor, Stephen Moore, as well as Trump finance advisor, Larry Kudlow. They worked on that Trump tax cuts together. And we're hoping that Congress passes a proper reduced spending bill and a reduced tax bill, because that's what we need. And President Trump, again, he passed those Trump tax cuts when he was in office in 2018, and they did phenomenally well. And he wants to pass another tax cut again to extend to 5 years and beyond. I mean, that's what's important right now. We want to reduce inflation. And as you know, the Federal Reserve guy, Jerome Powell, he just stepped down. I know for a fact President Trump wants to get rid of the Federal Reserve. So it's all about lowering the cost of things, reducing our taxes. And again, if you live in a high tax state and you are not abiding by President Trump's executive orders and the laws of this country that Congress is about to pass, you're in big trouble. And that's why you're losing population in your state. I was chatting with this Baltimore City Council president, I'm not going to say his name. He lied to his constituents again and said that the crime rate is low in Baltimore City and more people are coming to Baltimore City. We've increased population. BS. Stop lying to your constituents. Stop lying to the people. He has a lot of Jewish constituents. He's Jewish himself. And he continues to lie to the Jewish constituents that are in fear of their life every single day because the crime is so high in Baltimore City. They can't even walk to synagogue without fear of being attacked. And this guy's telling us that Baltimore City is great. The state of Maryland is broke. The state of Maryland is broke. And we'll put that up right now. That slide. Maryland recklessly pushes taxpayer-funded reparations while drowning in debt. Reparations. Again, look at that man's face. Governor Westmore, DEI elected higher governor with a DEI elected higher attorney general, DEI elected higher Baltimore City Mayor Brandon Scott. He wants to pass reparations while his state is in debt? Reparations for what? Again, the entitlement of this guy, because he's a DEI leader, as he calls himself, and Brandon Scott calls himself DEI leaders. That is what they call themselves. I said to this Baltimore City Council president, took a picture with Mayor Brandon Scott at the Baltimore Orioles game in Camden Yards. I said, why are you standing next to this DEI leader? Just because he's a Democrat, you're a Democrat, doesn't mean you need to stand next to him, stand by him, support him, and be a follower. Be a leader. Now, I like the fact that he primaried out Nick Mosby, who is the former Baltimore City Council president. But what is Nick Mosby today? He was appointed by Governor Westmore as the Maryland Lottery Commissioner. Why the hell should Nick Mosby be in charge of the lottery? He shouldn't be touching anybody's money, let alone lottery money. He's corrupt as hell, and so is his ex-wife. His ex-wife should have gone to jail. She got a slap on the wrist because she's a DEI attorney general. And he's a DEI Baltimore City. He was a DEI Baltimore City Council president. Now he's a DEI appointed Maryland Lottery Commissioner. So your state is going into debt and you're asking for reparations. How dare you? How dare you? And you have the audacity to put Section 8 housing at Fort Howard, which is a national landmark, historic landmark. That's why we're getting the federal government involved, because this is crap. You should be helping your veterans. Governor Westmore, I thought you were a veteran. Remember, you lied to the people and said you got a Bronze Star. That was a lie. You forgot to write on your White House report paper that I got a Bronze Star. Now, all of a sudden, he was able to write, I'm a bronze medalist. I have a Bronze Star. It's all lies. The guy's a liar. He's an Obama 3.0. He's a mysterious man. Nobody knows anything about Westmore. Excuse me. But he's putting his state in debt every single day. And he's combating President Trump and his executive orders and the laws that he put into place every single day. That's why it's so important that President Trump cuts out the IRS, calls it the External Revenue Service, lowers our taxes, lowers our inflation, expands his Trump tax cuts, get Congress to pass proper legislation to lower the taxes for we the people, so we the people can get married, have kids, and survive. I've talked to so many 32 to 36-year-old men that don't want to get married. They want to just keep working and working and working and date their girlfriends for 6 to 10 years, not put a ring on their finger, or buy a girl a ring and not give it to her because he's afraid. Sick. And I talk to girls too. The girls want to get married later, have kids at 38, have kids at 40, because they want to have a whole career and travel and sleep around, whatever else they want to do. It's very hard to have a kid at 38, 40, 45, 47, 50 years old. Remember, Judeo-Christian values. Get married, have kids. The younger you have a kid, girls, you get back into your figure much quicker. The older you are, you'll be like friends of mine. It takes them 20 years to lose the weight. I had a friend, she had a child at 39. It took her 24 years to lose the weight. 24 years, she had to go on Ozempic to lose the weight. You want to do that? Want to wait till you're 39, 40 years old? Have a baby? Can't take the weight off? You go on Ozempic? That's the only way 24 years later? No, have a kid at 22, 23, 25. Get your body back in shape. Have as many kids as you can, if the Lord allows you to. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks in life. Life is about taking risks. They say it in the, if you believe in God, if you go to church or synagogue, it's all about taking risks. But we have to remember the subject at hand. President Trump is trying to make our lives better. Don't make it worse by supporting these DEI hires and continuously voting for this idiot governor over here that wants to tax the crap out of you. This mayor over here that says American taxpayer dollars have to fund illegals, like the mayor in Frederick County. You want to pay for illegals to live near you? You want China to control your farmland? Heck no. We have to go back to the days of old. We have to go back to America First and America First policies because they work. We have to take care of our own. Stop taking care of other people. Reparations. When my family survived the Holocaust and they came here, they didn't ask for reparations, should they have? That's basically what Governor Wes Moore is saying. What the hell? Take care of your state. Don't go to Baltimore Oriole games. Don't go to opening day. Take care of your state. You should have been in your office doing something. And you know what? I've called Wes Moore's office before and Aruna Miller's office. They don't pick up the phone. They don't know my party affiliation. They don't know if I'm white, black, whatever, brown. They don't pick up the phone. They're lazy people. But they expect we, the people, to continuously pay the taxes. People are leaving liberal states and liberal districts and liberal counties because they've had enough. People are moving to Florida, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, places where the economy is booming. They're moving to more southern states. South Dakota they're moving to. I remember when I met Governor Kristi Noem at the Red, White, and Blue dinner with the Maryland GOP, all she did was talk about her state, South Dakota. And every person after that speech said, we want to move to South Dakota. Let's find a home. I mean, she was very convincing. She didn't talk about Maryland at all, didn't praise Maryland, just talked all about our state of South Dakota. God bless her. Because her state rocks. The economy there rocks. She was the only state that didn't close down during COVID. She refused. She was the last governor standing. She couldn't believe some of the other governors caved at the last second. She says, I was the only state that did not close down. And I didn't mandate people wearing masks, and I definitely didn't mandate people take the vaccines. I never closed my state down. And she had a very low COVID-19 rate in her state because of the beautiful minerals of South Dakota. My sister and her family are thinking of getting a summer home in South Dakota. It's very beautiful there. In Sioux Falls, Pierre, very beautiful areas of South Dakota. But again, why are these damn liberals thinking that continuously taxing their state is just going to woo we the people? Is going to make us happy? But that's what Democrats do. They like to tax. And rhinos like to tax too, like Larry Hogan. Larry Hogan taxed the hell out of Maryland. And he ruined the state by closing down the state for 3 years. Montgomery County, PG County were the last counties to reopen in Maryland. It took them 3 years. And that's because Larry Hogan allowed the county executives and the city mayor to decide when they were going to reopen their county and their city. It wasn't like my governor, Ron DeSantis, that said we're either all closed or we're all opened. I call the shots. I make the decisions. I'm the governor of the state. Not Larry Hogan, because he didn't want to take the blame for people losing their jobs. He didn't want to take the blame for small businesses going under. And now he wants to run for governor of the state again. Wonderful man not. He's horrible. Horrible person. I lived under him. I lived in Maryland under him. It was terrible. Terrible. He brought illegal Syrian and illegal Afghan refugees into the state of Maryland. We still have an illegal immigration problem in the state of Maryland. We still have terrorism in Maryland, MS-13 gang members in Maryland because of Larry Hogan and because of a lot of others that worked with Larry Hogan as well. Larry Hogan left the state of Maryland in debt and in a mess. And I knew Governor Wes Moore was going to come in and make it worse and demands full federal funding for the remake of the Francis Scott Key Memorial Bridge. How dare him? How dare him beg the federal government to pay for the entirety of the bridge? Not the federal government's responsibility, buddy. Stop asking for federal government help. Do something on your own, dude. You're the governor. Horrible man. Horrible man. And then my friend, the White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, we have a slide. She details the unfair trade practices that are hurting American businesses. 50% tariff from the EU on American dairy, 700% tariff from Japan on rice, 100% tariff from India on agricultural products. Quote, this makes it virtually impossible for American products to be imported into these markets. It's time for reciprocity. Look at that. Look at the tariffs that the EU and Japan and 100% tariff from India on agricultural products. And people are bitching that Trump is that wants tariffs for Canada and tariffs for China and tariffs for Mexico. We're getting screwed. We're getting screwed by the EU, by Japan, and by India. You just read it. She laid that out in front of everybody from the White House press corps. But people are mad that President Trump wants to reduce the tariffs, or not reduce tariffs, I'm sorry, give tariffs to the other countries when we get screwed. It's a way to shut them up. It's a way to say, oh my God, Trump's right. It's a way to say America's back and America's first. Again, under Joe Biden, we were America last. There's nothing wrong with putting a tariff on something if you are getting screwed at the end of the day. They put tariffs on us, but God forbid Trump says, I want to put a tariff on China. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Israel just said they're removing all their tariffs from the United States. And people, of course, they blame the Jews. Oh my God, the Jews tariffed the United States. You don't understand the alliance that Israel has with the United States. Again, we use Israel's agriculture, their technology, their environment, their central intelligence. There's a lot of things that Israel does for us. We use their pharmaceuticals as well. They have some of the best in the world, some of the most advanced. They built smartphones 5 years ahead of us. That's why we had to call Israel to open up the smartphone from the San Bernardino people, the San Bernardino bombers. We Americans, we couldn't, the American FBI and the CIA, they could not open the San Bernardino phone. They had to call Israel in. They had to call the IDF to come in, and the technology. The people of the heads of technology in Israel to come to San Bernardino to open up that phone because that phone was 5 years in advance of ours. Again, Israel's not the enemy. Iran is not our enemy. Iran is not our friend. China's not our friend. We have to be cognizant of North Korea. But we know under President Trump that he keeps these dictators in check. He's keeping them all in check so that they do not continue to fight. And they know under President Trump, if they continue these wars, there will be hell to pay, as President Trump says, hell to pay. Again, we have to know about the economy and what's going on. President Trump is trying to lower the cost of everything. People are still bitching, oh, well, the cost of eggs is still high. The cost of gas is still high. He's working on it. Remember, he's reversing 4 years of crap from Joe Biden. It doesn't happen overnight, but I can tell you, he's working it. That presidential address he gave, he laid everything out on the table. The illegal immigration has the border crossings are intensively low under Border Czar Thomas Homan and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. They don't have as many border crossings. It's 94% reduced border crossing. Thomas Homan reported on that. He says, I wake up every day and I feel like a kid in the candy store. I love my job. I love what I do. I love removing these illegal criminals out of our country. I love putting them in jail. And anybody that goes against, going back to what I was saying before. So again, it's about paying your fair share. It's about paying your fair share. And if you don't pay your fair share, guess what? You get taxed, you get tariffed. And people are pissed at Trump for that. Oh, please get over it. You like getting screwed from China and Iran? And again, anybody that comes to our country that our best interest at heart, they get the hell out of here. Anybody that supports this Mahmoud Khalil guy who started the pro-Hamas rallies on Columbia University or at Columbia University, if they support him, they should just go to Hamas and hang out with him. Go to Taliban, go to the Islamic Jihad. Jewish Voices for Peace is an anti-Jew group. They're disgusting. They're delinquents. They get bought and paid for by George Soros and others to push their propaganda crap. I combated them. I won. I won against Jewish Voices for Peace. I won against SJP. I won against these pro-Hamas groups and CARE. I beat CARE in Annapolis. I was so proud to do it. I removed CARE permanently from the Anti-Hate Commission with the state legislation. It was unanimously voted in the state and in the House and in the Senate to remove CARE from the Anti-Hate Commission permanently in Annapolis. And I will do it again. I will do it again because I have no fear. I have no fear of combating these morons. And I have no fear to tell the other side to stop screwing with we the people. I have no fear. Because what's right is right at the end of the day. And we the people can't have fear. Instead of bitching and complaining on Facebook and X and YouTube, go out there and make a difference. I do that every day. I do not just sit behind this mic. I go out and I make a difference. That's what people call me all the time. Alexandra, what are we going to do? Alexandra, can you put this event together for me? Alexandra, let's do this rally together. I get called all the time to put together events because I have no fear and because I know what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. I know what's good and what's bad. And I will combat anything that's bad, anything that's bad. But again, it's very, very important that we all don't hesitate right now, that our future is looking bigger and bright. Again, if you're one of those people that have been dating your girlfriend for years, put a ring on her finger and marry her. If you're also one of those people that have been married for years and don't have kids and can have kids, have kids. Don't be afraid. Again, no risk, no reward. You don't have to be a millionaire to have kids. You don't have to be a millionaire to get married either. I know the cost of living is very high right now, but if you focus so much on your career, you miss the most important thing. You miss love. You miss your legacy. You miss watching your child hit that home run for the first time. You miss your child getting bar mitzvahed. You miss your grandchild playing sports or going to dance class. You miss out on a lot of things. When you're an older parent, you don't live that long. If you are a guy and you have your first child at 50 or 60 years old, you'll be lucky if you see your child go to college. If you're between the ages of 28 and 45 and you are not married and you don't have kids, A, you have to ask yourself why, but B, step up. Step up to the plate. Take a risk, take a chance. If you've been dating your girlfriend or boyfriend for years, put the ring on the finger. Complete the relationship. Don't worry so much about other things. Because partnership, when you are in love and you're working together, you build a life together, you help each other out in so many ways. It's not good for a woman to come home to herself every single night. It's not good for a guy to constantly keep dating around and dating other girls. You could pick up a disease, God forbid. But you actually save more money when you're dating one girl than when you're dating 5 or 6 girls. Because think about all the dinners you got to pay for. Think about all the birthdays you got to pay for. You got to remember which girlfriend's birthday is which bracelet goes with which girl. When you have one person, you dedicate yourself to that one person. And that's what makes America great. The Judeo-Christian values, going against the extra mile, taking that risk. But also by supporting President Trump in his mission and supporting his values, supporting his policies, will make you a better person in the end, and you will find that person that is your equal, your soulmate, your Bashar, your Basharza. You have to find somebody that understands you, that gets you. And find someone that shares the same values as you do. That helps a lot in a relationship. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to stand up for something. Don't be afraid to fight for something. You always want to fight for something. You never want to fight against something. You fight for. A friend taught me that years ago. So if you love this country, you believe in this country, you will fight for everything to make your life good, but you will fight for what's right. And when I say fight, I don't mean like go out and fight and punch somebody. I mean, you have what, like me, like you go out and you make a name for yourself and you have a voice. You fight for your love. You fight for your kids, your grandkids. You fight for this country. If you go serve in the military, you're fighting for this country. You're fighting for a right to exist. We are so lucky that we don't have Kamala Harris as the president, because we as Americans wouldn't be able to exist. Me as a Jew wouldn't be able to exist in America anymore. I would have had to leave as a Jew. I would not have been able to survive Kamala Harris. So be happy that Trump is in that Oval Office. Be happy with Elon Musk. Be happy with all the changes that are being made, because they're great changes. And 87% of the people in this country, they do not support illegal immigration. And I can tell you 80% of this country support what President Trump is doing. It is a very high approval rating. That's why they're kind of pushing for him to serve a third term. And President Trump's kind of floated that idea. Be like another FDR. Because I don't know if I could go back to a rhino as the president. I don't know if I could go. Definitely, I don't want to go back to a Democrat. And I'm going to pose that question to my audience. Do they want President Trump in a third term, or do they want him to just end his 2 terms, let's put J.D. Vance in and continue on? We hope that J.D. Vance will continue the same method and the same policies that President Trump puts into place, but nobody is like President Trump. President Trump is a rarity. The only people that are like him are his children. If he puts his children in, I'd be happy. But it would be very tough for me not to see a Trump in there, to be honest with you. Because I know it was like without a Trump. We all know what it was like without a Trump. But again, I pose the question to you, to my audience. Do you want Trump in there for a third term? Do you want to see if they can change that? I mean, it would have to go through a whole constitutional process. I don't see Congress passing it. I mean, they won't even pass term limits. But you never know. If the country is so good under Trump, it's very hard to let him go. And he could live another 20, 30 years. That man is like the Energizer battery. He could live to 100, maybe more. He's got, I mean, you saw last week, I mean, he's so svelte. The man's lost like 70 pounds. I mean, he's in the best shape of his life. Doctors say he's great. Plays golf, keeps himself active. There's no reason whatsoever why he can't be in there 4 more years. Because remember, he got screwed. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Well, this has been a great 2 hours, guys. This has been a great show. Again, I'm Alexandra Levine Live. Don't forget to like and subscribe us on YouTube at America's Pulse Network, on Rumble at America's Pulse Network, on X at America's Pulse Network. And don't forget, we do have another great show, The Jersey Shore, with my friend Damon Galdo, Monday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. and Friday nights, 8 to 10 p.m. We also have our friend, the Conservative Corner, Seth. He will be coming back on Sundays at 7. We do have his GoFundMe link that we're going to put up right now. I know Damon has it. So as you know, our poor friend Seth, he has been suffering for a while. He's been in the hospital. There we go. GoFundMe, gofundme.com/f/help-jonah-eisenberg. Oh, we need to put up that link again. It kind of kicked out. There we go. GoFundMe.com/ f/help-jonah-eisenberg-overcome/health/crisis. He's raised close to $5,000 plus. The goal is 25,000. After that 25,000, we're going to go to another 25,000. My goal for him is to raise $100,000 for him. He unfortunately hasn't been able to work he was in the hospital for 33 weeks. He's out of the hospital. He's not allowed to work. Now his white blood cell count is up. He had a major infection in his foot. He almost lost his foot. He had 5 surgeries over his foot. Now he's got fevers galore, 100 degrees here, 101 here, 102 here. Hopefully his white blood cell count will go down. He has been doing Facebook Lives to let our viewers know his progress and how he's doing, but he cannot work. And this GoFundMe is really helping him pay his bills and helping him with his foot and anything else that he needs. And we love Seth Eisenberg. He's such a great asset to our network. And, you know, we want him up and running and we want him to be healthy. So please, guys, go to his GoFundMe. It's gofundme.com/f/help-jonah-eisenberg-overcome-health-crisis. Again, that's a Conservative Corner host, our friend Seth Eisenberg. And again, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Alexandra Levine. Don't forget to go to my ex at Alexandra Levi20. Please like and subscribe my YouTube channel at Levine Consulting. My YouTube channel is doing great. I remember because of the censorship, I had like 3 viewers. Now I have like over like 300 subscribers. I want to make it to the thousands, guys. Let's make it 300,000 subscribers. I would love that. I have friends that talk about law stuff all day and they get 300,000 subscribers. I'm talking to you about real life stuff and politics and Val Kilmer and singing. I want 300,000 subscribers on YouTube. So let's do it, guys. And please, if you're interested in sponsoring the show, please let me know. You can always message me again, Alexandra Levine on Facebook. And if you're interested in sponsoring the entire network, America's Pulse Network, please let us know. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for watching. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, Elena, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
Hey!